everybody. My name's Andrew.
And my name is Morag.
And we are back with another Culips episode.
If you want to learn English for everyday use, you've come to the right place. At Culips, we help make English understandable. By listening to our podcast, you can learn natural expressions and conversational structure. If you're interested in learning more about Culips and what we do, check us out on Facebook or our website, culips.com. That's CULIPS.com. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey, welcome back to another Real Talk episode. Real Talk is the series where we take a close look at expressions that are very important for everyday life in an English-speaking country.
Yeah, that's right. And in the last Real Talk episode, we talked about crossing the border from Canada into the USA. Well, now our trip is done and it's time to come home. So today we are going to teach you some of the key expressions that you need to know when you're crossing the border from the USA back into Canada.
That is right. And the questions you're asked by border agents are slightly different depending on if you're entering or exiting the USA. And so today, we'll look at exiting the USA and entering into Canada.
During this episode, we are going to listen to a dialogue between a Canadian traveler crossing into Canada and a Canadian border guard. So before we start, we have to tell you that, this dialogue is fictional. And as hard as we might try, it is impossible to predict exactly what you're going to hear when you're crossing the border. We relied on personal experiences when creating the dialogue, though. So you're probably going to hear at least some of these questions during your next crossing into Canada.
It's a very, very realistic dialogue, believe me. And so after the dialogue, we'll take a close look at the dialogue. We'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb and we'll look at all of the key expressions one by one.
Let's take a listen. Here is the dialogue between a Canadian citizen driving across the Canadian border and her interaction with a Canadian border guard. Hi. Hey, how are you?
Do you have your passport for me?
Yeah, sure thing. Here it is.
And where are you coming from?
New York City.
What were you doing down there?
I was at a conference and then I visited my friend.
So you're gone for how long?
1 week, just about a week.
Okay. Do you do any shopping while you were there?
A little bit.
Okay. How much did you spend?
About $100.
$100? Do you have anything you want to declare?
No, sir.
All right. Have a good day. So in that dialogue, we heard an interaction between a Canadian citizen who is crossing the Canadian border and a Canadian border agent. We're going to give you the chance to listen to this dialogue again at the end of the episode. But for now, let's just take a close look at the dialogue and examine the key expressions. So, the first key expression that we heard was a question that the border agent asked the traveler. And the question was, where are you coming from?
Where are you coming from?
This is a pretty straightforward question, and one that I think you'll always be asked when crossing the border to go back home.
Definitely in one phrasing or another, you will always be asked where you visited or where you are coming from.
Now, this is interesting. In one phrasing or another, what are some other ways we could ask this question?
Where did you visit?
Where did you visit?
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can hear this question, but they're all essentially the same way of asking information about where you were visiting.
What your initial destination was.
Let's check out expression number 2, key expression number 2. Morag, do you want to tell us what it is?
Sure. The second key expression is, what were you doing down there? What were you doing down there?
What were you doing down there? Yes, and Canadians often talk about the States as being down there because it's to the south of Canada. So down there just means in the USA.
And this is another question that you will 100% hear. A border guard is always going to ask what the purpose of your visit was.
Again, this is a question very routine, very standard, and it's just a way for the border guard to know what you were up to during your trip. So again, what were you doing down there? What were you doing on your trip? What was the purpose of your trip? You're very, very likely to hear a question like this. How about our third expression? How long were you gone? How long were you gone? Ooh, I like this one. It's got a rhyme to it.
It does have a nice cadence. How long were you gone? Yeah.
Sounds like a sad old country song or something.
I think you're right. Yeah, it's another very important question that you need to be prepared to answer when crossing the border.
Yes, the border agents will ask you how long you were in the other country. So you need to have an answer prepared. And in the dialogue, our traveler had been gone for 1 week.
And you don't usually have to be totally 100% precise. Like, I think you heard my version of that traveler being slightly nervous, as I usually am talking to border guards.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, they're kind of scary. So you can say about a month if you were gone for that long. You don't have to say 32 days exactly.
Right. It can be approximate. A lot of Canadians take very quick trips down to the USA to go shopping because often things are cheaper in the USA. Prices are lower. And so sometimes you can get a great deal. And if you are in the States just for a very small amount of time, sometimes you have to pay a certain tax, a duty on the things that you purchased. So this is always a question the border agents will ask you because they want to make sure that you pay the duty tax on anything that you should be paying the duty tax on.
Yeah, that's right, Andrew. I'd say that the last 3 questions that we talk about. So the second one, what were you doing down there? Trying to see if you were just shopping or business or pleasure. How long were you gone? It's the expression we were just talking about. And then the next one, which we'll get to in a second, those are all a part of the border guards trying to figure out if you owe them money.
It always comes down to money.
It's one of the main things, though. There's different limitations on the amount of stuff you can bring back, depending on how long you've been gone.
How about we look at our last expression? And it is, do you have anything you'd like to declare?
Do you have anything you'd like to declare?
This is a question that the border agent asks. And declare, what does declare mean in this question?
In this question, it means anything, any object, actually, that you would like to let the country know that you have.
Yes. So it could be something that you purchased that you know you need to pay duty tax on. It could also be something like maybe a weapon or some sort of livestock or fruits or vegetables.
This question is designed to get you, the person crossing the border, to talk about any difficult or potentially problematic things you might be bringing before they have to just search you and find them. If you somehow legally have something, then maybe other people wouldn't be able to have, like livestock or fruit or something that you're bringing across the border, you can declare it and then they can just deal with it up front in a normal kind of manner as opposed to trying to search you for it, I guess. It's kind of odd, but it's just, it's like, hey, do you have anything weird?
Yes. I would guess that 97% of the time when the agents are asking this question, what they really mean is, do you need to pay duty?
Yes.
Is there something that you need to pay duty on?
Yeah.
Like I said, Canadians will cross the border to take advantage of cheaper prices in the States. And sometimes this means buying large amounts of groceries or cigarettes or alcohol even. And there are limits on how much you can take back with you tax-free. So yeah, the agent just wants to make sure that you are abiding by the law and paying your duty if you need to pay a duty.
It's somewhat like asking, are you trying to sneak anything through?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
Are you trying to get away with something? Okay, no, okay, fine. Yeah.
So make sure to declare.
Yes.
Good. Well, it's my favorite part of a Real Talk episode. It is quiz time. And so everybody listening out there, please put on your thinking caps because in today's dialogue, we heard a Canadian border agent ask a Canadian traveler several questions before letting her go back home to her house in Canada. Could you think of some other questions that you might hear when crossing into your home country? We're going to give you about 30 seconds, and then Morag and I will talk briefly about some other potential questions you may hear when crossing the border. Okay, Morag, time's up. What's an expression that you thought of?
Well, sometimes, no matter if you've declared everything or not, the border guards will want to take a look in your car. So occasionally you will hear the question, can I take a look in your trunk? Or can you pop your trunk?
Yes, this has happened to me several times. So I would say there's a high possibility that you might be asked this question.
I think you just might be kind of shady, Andrew, because it's never happened to me.
Well, the question that I thought of was, can you pull over up there? Can you pull over up there? And again, I've had to pull over at the border a couple times. So that's why I thought of this question. So yeah, I'm getting my trunk popped. I'm getting pulled over. Maybe I just look a little sketchy. Who knows?
I don't know.
Morag, I think that's all we have time for today.
I think you're probably right. But before we go, I really want to remind all of our listeners to visit culips.com and consider becoming Culips members. Culips membership is perfect for people who are really serious about studying their English with Culips.
I agree. You'll get transcripts, detailed explanations of key expressions and interesting vocabulary, plus quizzes for each episode.
Yeah, so it's fun and informative. So you guys should check out culips.com today and learn more about becoming a member.
Stay tuned for the dialogue. We'll be playing it one more time, but as for us, we're out of here. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with another new episode for you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hi. Hey, how are you?
Do you have your passport for me?
Yeah, sure thing. Here it is.
And where are you coming from?
New York City.
What were you doing down there?
I was at a conference and then I visited my friend.
So you're gone for how long?
1 week, just about a week.
Okay. Do you do any shopping while you were there?
A little bit.
Okay. How much did you spend?
About $100.
$100? Do you have anything you want to declare?
No, sir.
All right. Have a good day.
Yeah.